So needless to say, this team is just a little bit of a mystery. I think that's what we'll go with it. I want to show you guys some stats before we get into the sim. Obviously, our plans are still kind of what you would expect them to be. But we are the 10th ranked team in the NHL. We are in a three-team tie with the Sharks and the Sabres. But when taking a look at goals for, we are number one. If it wants to roll over, we are number one in the NHL by 14 goals over the Sharks. So that is pretty damn good. But then when you look at the goals against, we are fourth. So really, when you look at it, is it worth having the team's best offense, or the league's best offense, for the fourth worst defense in the league? Similarly, here we'll take a look. We have the second best power play. The second best power play, which is pretty damn good, but the league's worst penalty kill. We are just terrible defensively. And a big part of that has to be the goaltenders. And obviously that's a big point of discussion right now for this team moving forward. But I will say this. We're going to keep the team the same for the moment. Essayowensu needs to step his game up. I know he has 17 goals. I would like him to be around 25 by the time we get to the trade deadline. We still have a month to go before the trade deadline. Defensively, Corey and Benda, I'd like to see some overall improvement there, or I may end up getting a player or players with expiring contracts. Obviously, Brian Mahalik needs to continue to improve, or I will get somebody else and designate him as the backup. Torsten Nyquist, if he can fucking stay healthy, needs to improve, or I'm not afraid to trade him either. We need this team, despite being in second place, we need this team to be better. So let's go ahead and get started with the sim here and see just how this team will perform. We have 2 games left in the month of January, but moving into February is where we will sim up to here. This game on February 10th against the New York Rangers. Obviously, Mahalik will be the starter unless he struggles and Nyquist comes back, because I don't want to call up Koivisto, and obviously Dolan will not start. But Nyquist just may miss out on some game opportunities, which means he could end up being traded without actually having played a game in about 2 months. A 3-2-1 stretch for the Vancouver Canucks there. The first 2 games, a win against Winnipeg and an overtime loss against the Florida Panthers, puts our record at 29-21-3. We are still in second place, so that's good, but obviously with the firepower we have, you would hope we would be in first. Danton Heinen, 39 goals. He actually missed a game due to injury. Essayowensu, 2 goals in that time period, so not terrible, but I was certainly hoping for better. And we have put Carlson in the game. We had to do best lines at one point and put him in as opposed to Silfverberg. Mahalik, his save percentage has gone down, so I'm not too happy. Torsten Nyquist here is healthy for once. He will get his first start and what could be his last start if it's bad enough here against the struggling New York Rangers. So let's see what he can do for us, and he gets a 4-0 shutout. I certainly didn't see that coming. The trade offers have been rolling in. So interesting for Nyquist to get that win. We are going to sim these next 5 games, and his next chance will be a big-time test against the Winnipeg Jets, who, when we check the standings, were in, I believe, second. So he proved himself against the Rangers. If he can prove himself against the Jets, things will be looking good. Although, if Mahalik is still struggling, we're going to need a better backup than Nyquist. Well, honestly, we're going to need a better starter, because Mahalik would be the backup for the rest of the year. But let's see what happens in these next 5 games. A 3-1-1 stretch gets us to the 33-win mark, but despite that success, we have fallen to 3rd place in the division. The Calgary Flames have leapfrogged us, so it's a big-time game here against the Jets. Obviously not a divisional rival, but a conference rival, and we cannot afford to fall behind. Granted, as you see by San Jose having one of the wild card spots, it is a very close division. It's been that way all season. Brian Mahalik at a .903 save percentage. Torsten Nyquist is playing not only for his job, but for Mahalik's, because again, if Nyquist is struggling, we are going to need to get a better goalie than Michalek. But let's see what he can do here against the Winnipeg Jets. And it is a 3-0 shutout. That is, oh boy, that's not good at all, is it? All right, we'll sim a couple more games up here to the deadline, but I think we're going to have to make moves. We have to improve this team. I don't want to waste a single year. I mean, Esa Hall, he's only 22, but he's a fucking 95 overall. I don't want to waste a single year of his development. Danton Heinen at 43 goals. Yoensu is at 20, so he's close to meeting my requirements, but yeah, I'm going to improve this team to make sure we make the playoffs and put ourselves in a good situation in those playoffs. I don't just want to squeak in and get eliminated in the first round. Far too competitive for that. So let's sim these next 3 games. We'll go to February 2nd, just before the trade deadline, and see what happens from there. A 2-1 stretch puts us at 35 wins on the season, but I can't help but come to the conclusion, a very easy conclusion to come to, that we need to improve our defense. Now, Jonathan Drouin is outscoring DeRocher on the top line, so I am going to change things up just a little bit, and we are going to roll with Danton Heinen as the center. He does have 85 face-off, so we're going to roll the new top line moving forward is going to be Esa Hall, Danton Heinen, and Jonathan Drouin. The second line really depends on who has the better face-off, so we'll go with DeRocher. And second line will be Matthews, DeRocher, and Yoensu. We are going to keep Yoensu. There really aren't better alternatives, but he is having a weaker season than he did before, so it is very disappointing to not see him improve. Third and fourth lines will remain the same. Defensively, it'll remain the same. We just have to put faith in these guys that they will improve in overall moving forward. And as I've said, who can we really replace them with? We don't want Forsstrom and Plot being on the third pairing, and Yasina is up to a ridiculous 97 overall. The goalie is, of course, the big problem. Michalek only a 904 save percentage, which is brutal. Torsten Nyquist an 895, so very disappointed in both of those guys. I do have a trade in mind. Let's see if we can get it to work out. And there you have it. It's Torsten Nyquist to Columbus for their starter, Skinner, and a 6th round pick. Now, of course, you've already seen Nyquist's stats. We will get you a look at Skinner's stats thus far this season. And needless to say, he's going to be the goalie we run with. Of course, he did drop in overall, which kind of sucks. But as you can see, a 933 save percentage, tied for second best among starters in the NHL. He is here for 1 year, and then we'll find a backup. Most likely that will be Koivisto, but Brian Michalek has lost his starting job for the time being. And our next trade, it's adding just a little bit of depth. It is a second-round pick, the Florida Panthers' second-round pick this year to Chicago for Patrick Kane, and Chicago's 6th-round pick this year. So as we move forward, here's a look at the lines. I should say as well, Silfverberg and Carlson, we attempted to send them both down, and both were claimed on waivers. Silfverberg back to the Ducks, Carlson to the Philadelphia Flyers. But again, here are the lines we are rolling with. It's Hall, Heinen, and Drouin on the top line. Matthews, DeRocher, Yoensu, Patrick Kane on the third line with Doyle and McMillan. Of course, if he struggles, or if Yoensu struggles, or whoever, we can move Patrick Kane up to that second line. He still has some pretty damn good offensive categories, 24 goals on the season thus far. And the fourth line, it's Backlund, Korolev, and Sloan. The defense remains the same, and of course the goaltender moving forward at the moment will be Stuart Skinner. And as far as depth guys go, I have confidence in the players we have in Utica if we need to call them up. Although if I do get an offer here before deadline day, I may take it just to get a little bit more depth. But if not, we are simming up to this game on March 9th against the New Jersey Devils. Obviously not the biggest sample size, but a win and a loss for Stuart Skinner, 36, 25, and 4. Unfortunately, the San Jose Sharks have now jumped into third place. By the way, I should mention we have a 100 rating, in offense. Never seen that before. I honestly thought it capped off at 99. But Brian Michalek will get the start here. He's actually jumped to an 88 overall. How he's jumping an overall when he's not playing at the moment, I do not know, but that is this game for you. He gets the start against the Devils. He will actually get another start here coming up against Carolina. He gets a 3-0 shutout, and who knows, maybe he's actually decided that he wants to be the starter on this team. A good time for him to come to that decision, because we've needed him to play as our starter all goddamn year. He's played 54 games and has a .906 save percentage, so certainly not what we'd be looking for him, or looking for out of him. Skinner gets the start against the Montreal Canadiens. He picks up a win, so hey, maybe a little bit of a goalie competition isn't the worst thing in the world. Carey Price is on waivers. I won't even take you out of pity. You can toil in the minors for all I care. But here we go, Michalek now will get this next start. And I'm hoping that save percentage continues to go up, because I'm hoping, honestly, to have a goalie controversy heading in to the playoffs. I want there to not be an obvious choice for who we start, and we get a 5-3 win, but Backlund goes down to a groin injury. Our depth is already going to be tested. And for the record, guys, as I go to find Backlund's replacement, Yasina is a 98 overall. Vladislav Michalek makes his return to the lineup. Doyle, by the way, an 87 overall, so we're getting some interesting progression. We are just going best lines down in Utica in an effort to make sure that they reach the playoffs. Skinner is back in goal. It's a 2-loss policy. If that happens, he will lose the starting job back to Michalek. But in the meantime, we are simming up to this game on April 2nd against the Edmonton Oilers. So the sim period did not get off to the best start. 3 straight losses, all for Stuart Skinner. The sim period didn't stop, or the simming didn't stop after the 3rd game. From that point on, we put in Michalek, and we have won 4 out of 5. Now, we are dealing with an injury to Chychrun at the moment. He should not be out for too long, but we are in 2nd place in our division. The Flames have already clinched a playoff spot. Joensuu continues to struggle, so we're going to bump him down to the 3rd line. He has already complained about ice time. He hasn't played a game on the 3rd line. He was still on the 2nd. He's complaining about ice time, which is fine because he's the 1st liner, but you don't see DeRocher, you don't see Austin Matthews, you didn't see Heinen or Drouin complain when they were on the 2nd line, so that is pretty damn frustrating to see him complain when he's not even having the greatest of seasons to begin with. And that might, and I say might, lead to me trading him in the offseason, because I don't see the reason why he should be complaining. We lose in the shootout to Edmonton, which isn't the worst. We do need any and every point we can get right about now, but not the best run from Stuart Skinner. He is still hanging around a .930 save percentage, which is good. He hasn't completely fallen off the cliff, but we have 5 games left in this season. I don't think we're taking the division title. We are 6 points back. We are tied in points with the Oilers with 2 games at hand, so it's looking good. It's looking like we will take a top 2 spot in this division. Knock on wood, we could easily fall off the cliff, but certainly not the season I was expecting from this team. We have a game here against the Anaheim Ducks, and we lose 7-4. That might put that second place spot in danger. We lose 5-3 to the Sharks, and this team is slowly but surely falling apart, which again, I really don't appreciate. I mean, we've gone into the playoffs before just struggling, just on a terrible run of form, and had playoff success. But I really would like to go into the playoffs on a high note and just, make it easy for ourselves, basically. I don't know why this team insists on making it difficult for themselves, but they certainly do. Joensuu will stay on the 3rd line. That is how the defense will go. Yasina still a 98 overall, for God's sakes. The only thing holding him back is his poise rating, which who knows if that will come into play for the playoffs. But we have 3 games left in the season. We are getting nowhere close to 50 wins. And let's see now, we are in 3rd place. We have clinched a playoff spot, We're getting nowhere close to 50 wins. We're getting nowhere close to that division title. Calgary has it locked up, and we are currently 2 points back of the Oilers. We do have a game in hand, but we are slowly pissing away our chances at a decent spot here in the playoffs. I mean, obviously I'd much rather have the second seed, but here we go. Anaheim, can we get the win? And we get a 5-0 shutout victory against a non-playoff team. Let's hope we can replicate that here against the Arizona Coyotes, and we can't. It's a 4-3 loss, which sets the stage for this game against the 49-win Calgary Flames. Now I hope we win even more to make sure they don't hit the 50-win mark. Oh, Ensu admitting that he's underperforming. What a surprise. As the menu is glitching out. Bravo, EA. Alright, now that BS is over, we can do the normal second answer just to clear all of this up. Again, really not happy with Ensu this season. But it all comes down to this final game of the season to determine our playoff seeding. We are 2 points back of the Oilers. Again, we had games at hand on them through the past couple of weeks. Haven't been able to take advantage of it. I'm pretty sure even if we win, I can't remember the tiebreaker exactly. Bottom line is we have to win against the number 1 team in the division. Is that going to happen? No, it is not. I can almost guarantee it, just with how things have gone this month. We have 2 wins. Or no, excuse me. Well, 2 wins on the calendar. We have 1 win in 5 games in the month of April. And that is... And we shut them out 6-0. All right. Cool. 6-0 shutout win to end the season. Certainly a good way. We play the Oilers, and we took the second seed. We actually took the second seed. We beat them on tiebreaker. So a second place finish for the Canucks after all of those changes is certainly a welcome sight to see. We do win on tiebreaker, 1 extra win, and I'm pretty sure wins, regulation plus overtime wins, would have sealed it for us. So not the dominant season that we've seen this team have in the past. We finished in 8th place overall in the NHL. As far as our point totals go, we'll take a quick look rather than doing it in the next episode. Heinen, Drouin, Hall, Patrick Kane finished with 74 points, 53 for DeRocher, 50 for Matthews, 50 points for Par Forstrom, which is pretty damn good. He finished, we had 3 defensemen finish with more points than Ensu. That is atrocious, absolutely atrocious for somebody making $7 million a season. And of course, I mean, I'm sure, you can't even make an excuse for him. Looking at the goalies, Mahalik still at a 908 save percentage, Skinner at a 930. I think it's obvious we'll go with Mahalik, who's now up to an 89 overall. But needless to say, and I said this for the first episode of the Season 11 Sim, I have not had this little of confidence in this team since the first season, since we originally took the reins. Who knows what is going to happen? We will find out in the next episode. Calgary already up 1-0 on San Jose, so if we can overcome the Oilers, we know we have the Flames, and then who knows from there. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode as always. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, and make sure to hit that subscribe button to continue following this series if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in round 1.